I'm going to start the GTO up for a minute, let it warm up, and then I'm going to show you another issue that I'm having with it that that I plan on fixing. That is not accurate, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But you see it works as in it goes up and it goes back down with the key switched on and off. So okay, what I have here is the fuel pump out of GTO. This was the original fuel pump out of it. If you remember back in some earlier videos, I actually swapped out the whole fuel tank, and I put the whole fuel tank with the fuel pump from the black GTO inside of the yellow one. So this fuel pump here is out of the original one out of the yellow GTO. And what I need to do first of all is clean it up, because on the fuel pump that's in the GTO now, I did a bucket upgrade where I put the 8.1 Chevy 8.1 bucket, and I put a Aeromotive fuel pump inside of the bucket because it said something about the fuel pump sucking the bucket dry. So I put a bigger bucket on it, and with the bigger bucket my gauge is wrong. It's not reading it because the actual sending unit was different, and I had to try to rig it up, and it messed the gauge up, so the gauge was not working. It goes up to that half a tank mark, and it stays there regardless of the amount of fuel that I have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the Aeromotive fuel pump out of that other unit, and I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to put the Aeromotive fuel pump back in this, because I don't think I should have an issue with it emptying the bucket. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to clean this up and put the Aeromotive fuel pump back in it. Alright, I took the bucket off, and I just want to show you the condition that this actual fuel pump is in. See all that rust around there? And I'm not using this pump, so just like I said, I'm just using the bucket, and pretty much that's it. The whole outer shell is what I'm using, because I modified everything, so I'm gonna have to use the whole outer shell minus the pump. So I'm gonna get in there and get all that stuff out of there, even the bucket. If you look down in the bucket, has a whole bunch of rust inside of it. So this car sat up for 16 years. So that's why you had all the rust and stuff in it. I got my fuel pumps soaking in vinegar. This is the old one, the rusted one. And I saw where it said vinegar cleans off rust. I was just gonna buy a new one and then take the pump itself out and replace it with my Aeromotive. But if I can get this bucket cleaned up and this stuff here cleaned up, then I might just switch it out of this one and put it in there. So I'm gonna let it sit in vinegar for a couple of days and see if it'll get all the rust off of it. It's been 3 days now, so I'm gonna take a look at the pump. It's been sitting in vinegar for 3 days now. I'm just gonna take a look at it and see how it looks. Keep in mind, I haven't touched anything. All I did is just let it soak in vinegar for 3 days. Looks a lot better. I can actually see the filter now. bucket is actually clean too. I'm gonna let it sit for a couple of days. Getting ready to take the fuel tank out of the GTO. I got it jacked up, and I figured this would be the perfect day because if you look outside, it's raining again, pouring down raining. So that's why I got the GTO inside of the garage, so we can go ahead and knock out some of the stuff I need to get done in the garage. So, all right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this fuel door because there's 3 bolts around the filler spout that needs to come out before I pull the tank out, and we know the tank is inside of the trunk. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my tools for that, and I'll pick back up on the video. All right, just some words of warning. Remember, this is the tank that came out of the black GTO, and when I did the fuel tank swap, or when I did the pump swap last time, I broke off one of the studs. You got one here, and one there. So I didn't break it off just now, but just some words of warning: do not use an impact wrench when taking these off because you will snap the stud off. So I'm using the impact wrench, but I'm using this impact wrench right here, which doesn't have enough torque to snap off a stud. This is not the one I used before, so what I usually do is just stick the nuts just right back in here so I don't lose them, because what you're going to do is just push this through. And it's going to push through just like that. So, and now I can do everything from the inside of the trunk. Alright, so I got to remove all of this out of the trunk and the bottom down here. I had to put a light in here just to show you because it's kind of dark over here. But let me remove the spare tire out first. I remove floor carpeting. It's a spare tire. Probably don't have to remove the spare tire. I can just pull the tank back. But you see, it's still got the spare tire, jack, all the stuff in it. Next, I gotta pop these out and remove this side over here. Okay, I got all the little pins pulled out of them with clips, and I'm gonna just pull this out. It just comes right off. And I'm gonna take this out and set it to the side. And you got the fuel tank brace right here. You got 2 bolts to take that off. You got that bolt right there, and this bolt over here, and you got 2 bolts up here. And you can take this whole fuel tank brace off, and once you get that brace off, I'll come back to you after we get that brace off. Let me go ahead and get the right tools to take that brace off. All right, so the straps, the bottom of these straps right here, they have bolts going up through the bottom of them, and I have to get that from the bottom of the car and disconnect this while I'm at it. Okay, I'm up under the car now, and let me try to get the light up here to show you. That is that bolt right there where my fingertip is. That's the bottom of one of the straps on a fuel tank. Gotta take that one off. Up here, I'm gonna have to put the light up there so you can see that. But right there, those two connections right there are the fuel lines on the bottom of the tank. So I gotta disconnect those. And what I usually do is I disconnect, instead of disconnecting from the bottom of the tank there, I usually disconnect it from right there. You see why I have zip ties on there? Because I broke the clip off of it. But I have to cut those zip ties and disconnect it from there. And then I can just pull it straight up with the tank. And I also disconnect it from this little vent tube right there. And over here is the other strap. The bolt for the other strap is right there. That one is kind of hard to get to because you got this plastic shield right here. I'm gonna try not to take this shield off, but it comes off pretty easy. You got a bolt right there, a bolt right up there, and one right there, and these little snaps right there. I don't want to really take it off because you see I got my nozzles to my drag bags mounted inside of there on that side and right there. So I don't want to take it off, so I'm thinking I'll probably be able to get to it. Worst case, I'll just take one bolt out and pull it down some and see if I can get to it then.
Oh, nice little deal.
Alright, that bolt right there, it's a 17 millimeter. Same thing as this one over here. And also if you decide you want to take this plastic cover off, that's 17 millimeter. All these bolts are 17 millimeters also. But just like I said, I'm not gonna take this cover here off unless I absolutely have to, but I'm about to go ahead and take the bolts on the straps off. Alright, so I'll just loosen up this clamp. Take that off, and just like I said, that's just for fumes. No fuel actually go through there. I disconnected this connector, and this is what feeds the fuel pump. All right, I got the pump apart. It kind of got stuck in the tank, so I had to end up breaking it apart to get it out, which that don't matter because I'm not using this anyway. And this is the main Aeromotive pump this one right here is the main Aeromotive pump that we're gonna put inside of the other one over here. So let me go over to the bucket. And this is the bucket. Again, I haven't taken this pump out of the vinegar. It's been in this vinegar. Okay, I'm gonna have to buy a new pump. Not a new pump, well, a new pump so I can use the sending unit. A sending unit is about 80 bucks, and I can get a whole nother bucket with sending unit and everything for about 65. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that. But what happened is, with it sitting in vinegar, let me get a close up, it melted this part right here. So if you see, the sending unit moves without that black piece.